Hello everyone, this is Troy here coming to you from Melbourne, Australia. Thanks Anthony for arranging this wonderful event. I've pre-prepared my talk because I'm on the opposite side of the world, so I'm upside down right now. Topic of my presentation is serious urban play, and I really want to build out this idea, but I also want to talk a lot about walking. So I'm going to spend part of this presentation walking around different environments. So I've actually renamed this presentation. So serious urban play is a very serious kind of take on the topic. What I really wanted to talk about though is the way in which we're kind of living in a world now where everything is constantly under construction. It's kind of world that's constantly coming into being. So I've actually retitled my talk, Today is Under Construction. Walking as an act of resistance and reimagining the world around you. Becoming more observant, mindful and aware, situated and embedded in reality as it's being constructed. Today is under construction. The world, cities. For many, this is how we experience the world. While this experience, for many, may be accepted as a given, each city is highly constructed, coded, and created from a set of beliefs or values, a worldview. For many of those living in cities, the world is a given, the way the world is. For those whose beliefs or values have been excluded from the real act of, real world building, cities are sites of resistance and survival, places to be changed. So in this short talk, I'm really talking about urban play as a site of resistance and change, a way of seeing the world as it could be. Walking as a way of being in the world, a way of being in the city, in the world as it also comes into being. Today is under construction. Walking as a way into urban exploration, a way into a curious engagement with the world and quiet, introspective play. Into and within the layers of reality as they unfold around you. I like to think of the city as a material, as something that's constantly coming into being, never fixed, always fluid and mutable. I'm interested in the city as a place for urban exploration, play, reinvention, reimagination, seeing the world as it could be. Urban play has the capacity to connect people and place, to create experiences that allow us to reimagine, remake and reinvent the world. But it is often overlooked or misunderstood, or worse, adopts approaches that alienate people through poor design, public policy, or both. But back to reality. One of the things that we're really talking about here is the impact of the Anthropocene. In 2015, I started a speculative design project that looked at the role of urban play in a future society situated in the post-Anthropocene. This proposed three main ideas. Urban play as a primary function in culture through its role in modelling modes of human survival, a kind of pattern thinking. Urban play enables the possibility to become adaptive and hack the world as the conditions change. Being in urban play suggests that a changed philosophical perspective may offer an evolutionary edge, an opportunity for survival in a changing world. So, today is under construction. This really talks to the fact that the world that we're in is a world that's constantly coming into being, and we're part of that process. And this is something that kind of slowing down and spending more time outdoors, reconnecting with the world, kind of makes you really reflect upon. And walking is central to this. I've been playing a lot of walking games lately, both as a way of kind of moving into a mode of quiet, introspective play, and also as a way of kind of understanding what urban play really is, kind of, whether it's using a smartphone to play with other layers, other kind of layers of augmented reality, adding those to the world, or just using your imagination as you would if you were writing a book or making a map, except that you're walking through the map, you're making the story as you observe the world around you. And so this is a mode of play that's been around obviously for quite some time, but has really, in a way, recaptured, well, at least my attention and hopefully the attention of others, as we've spent more time kind of quietly walking around familiar environments and rediscovering them, rediscovering ourselves, I guess. I mean, this is the ongoing kind of process of coming into being into the world, is that quiet, introspective, imaginative, kind of psychological play that happens with the world around you. And the world kind of plays back if you let it. So this is a bit of a kind of ramble to start us off. I'm going to move into some ideas and some techniques around imaginative urban play for reinventing the world. But I first wanted to start with a space that's familiar to me, which is this walking track that I've been walking along pretty much every day for the last 3 months, and kind of thinking about the role that not only like of course there is the big spectacle of urban play, big moments of urban play that reshape the city, but also the quieter moments that reshape your relationship, your sense of self and connection with the world. Today is under construction. I've been exploring these ideas by walking hundreds of kilometres over dozens of cities, engaged in urban code making, a way of bringing urban play and creative technologies together to create new experiences of the world. Urban play becomes a site of gentle resistance and bold remaking of the world, a framework for the world as it could be rather than the world as it is. While spectacle and fun are ways into play, the lasting impact of urban play is its capacity as a creative force in shaping culture and society, playing with the world. Remaking systems, situating critical perspectives, decoding the world. Opening up new ways of being that engage with creative, linguistic, cultural, social, and urban diversity. These are ambitious goals, but as literacies of play rise, cities become open platforms, and as design thinking is applied to a broader set of problems, new places for play emerge. Critical forms of urban play, walking, happenings, interventions, that emerged last century are being expanded through creative technologies, social platforms, and speculative design. Serious urban play is all around you. How can we find ways of being in the world that engage with it as an open system, as a set of processes to be explored, ways of being that are collective and connected? Urban play often starts with familiar, everyday behaviour and reframes it in relation to the world and player experience. Walking is often seen as simply a way to get to a place, not an experience in itself, or as fulfilling the need to exercise, measured in steps through fitness trackers, rather than an experience in itself. These experiences build upon a rich history spanning Benjamin's Flaneur and Debord's psychogeography through to more active and recent developments such as parkour and urban exploration, UE or urbex. The exploration of the entire constructed environment from underground tunnels to rooftops. Between the derive and UE exists a spectrum of alternative ambulatory ways of being. More recently, audio walks, live art, augmented reality, and alternative cartographies have expanded the range of possibilities for situating player experiences. Walking may be a guided experience in observation, following a path or map that works with spatial narrative and environmental storytelling. It can be exploratory and procedurally generated, using random rules or decisions to create new paths and perspectives in a pre-existing urban environment. From a game design perspective, walking is a fundamental mechanic of urban play that brings players into new encounters and relations with their environment. In terms of urban design, cities range from being hostile to pedestrians to basing urban planning decisions around them through design principles such as the neighbourhood unit or 5-minute walk. Urban play is a big topic, so the main focus of this talk is on the act of walking, which is of course central and important to urban play, but it can also take a number of different forms. A common place to start is the psychogeography of the Situationist International, an international network of social revolutionaries working to subvert the modernist city through play and other subversive acts. Debord developed the theory of the dérive as a way to drift through urban spaces, describing it as follows. In a dérive, one or more persons during a certain period drop their usual motives for movement and action, their relations, their work and leisure activities, and let themselves be drawn by the attractions of the terrain and the encounters they find there. But the dérive includes both this letting go and its necessary contradiction, the domination of psychogeographical variations by the knowledge and calculation of their possibilities. So essentially, it's a way of finding your own set of connections in the urban landscape, but also fighting against all of the programming and codes that are already inherent in that landscape, so that you can truly find your own personal path through the city. More recently, I've been exploring the work of Phil Smith, who has developed an imaginative reworking of this concept in mythogeography. So he describes it as follows. From the transnational pilgrim to the person who drifts off on the way to the shops, mythogeography addresses the means, uses, and consequences of walking sideways, of deploying the ordinary act of walking as a lever to prise the lid off of everyday life. His book consists of an assemblage of sometimes unreliable, sometimes fractious documents hung around a flawed yet epic tale of a journey in search of oak trees. It floats numerous narratives around this travelogue, weaving a matrix of possible trajectories for the player from passive contemplation to wild pilgrimage and active pedestrianism. This approach introduces an overt world-building and storytelling approach to drifting through urban spaces. The walker builds their own myths and legends from the everyday as they walk about. Another more recent example is Harry Giles' Casual Games for City Walkers, a set of rules for mapping, walking, and playing the streets around you by forming galaxies, renaming streets, making histories, confronting fears, or finding your way through a city of forking paths. His goal was to write games that you can play, in your mind or with a pen and paper, when you walk from home to work, or round the corner to the cafe for lunch. Games you can play in 10 minutes, or in little bursts over the course of a year. Games that are about walking not as a grand mission or as strenuous exercise, but that make us feel alive to the few steps we take each day. Each game is about noticing something in the way you walk, or how your city is built, or how people move and interact in ordinary and extraordinary ways. Some of them are strange, some are silly, some are hardly possible, some only take a moment. All of them can make walking new again. There are about 20 games that are playable anywhere and that interact with walking and finding your way through the world. Francesco Carreri is co-founder of Stalker, a participatory urban art workshop that combines urban exploration with collective walking. His practice brings together small and large groups that move through spaces together, often transgressing boundaries and public-private spaces. They describe themselves as follows. Stalker have developed a specific methodology of urban research, using participative tools to construct a collective imaginary for a place. In particular, they have developed the method of collective walking to actuate territories, which for them is a process of bringing space into being. Stalker carry out their walks in the indeterminate or void spaces of the city, which have long been disregarded or considered a problem in traditional architectural practice. Referring to their walking practice as transurbance, the group views it as a collective mode of expression and a tool for mapping the city and its transformations, of gathering stories, evoking memories and experiences, and immersing themselves with others in a place. They use this knowledge and experience to address urban planning and territorial issues, focusing especially on the interstices of the contemporary city region. Through this playful practice, they remap cities and the changes that happen within. Again, it's an accessible form of practice that you can try at home. Earlier this year, a new app appeared that serves as a prompt for random walking. The randonauts describe this practice as randonauting. Enter a topic into the app and it generates a destination close by and leads you there using a GPS style interface. They describe this as follows. Randonauting is a way to turn the world around you into an adventure. Stemming from research of the Phaeton project, Randonautica was created to send a randonaut outside of their day-to-day routine by using a quantum random number generator to derive a coordinate to journey to. Early results are showing there might be more to mind-matter interaction than we once knew. The Randonauts movement is a global phenomenon. During isolation, it has actually become a social media phenomenon, with randonauts sharing their walks on TikTok and thereby sharing their experiences with others around the world. Again, it's something that you can try just by downloading the app and searching your local environment. So in conclusion, without presenting play as a solution, as the world is far too complex for that, these examples of playful walking present urban play as a form of resistance that offers ways to reshape the world from within, to resist, remake, and reimagine that world. So, wherever you may be, next time you head out into the world, I suggest you try any or all of these games while walking. It could be a way to reconnect with the world after being in isolation. It could be a way to reimagine the world and to resist the world that is. It could be a small everyday gesture towards reinventing the world as it could be. Today is under construction. Thank you.